Hey, good morning. This is Jeff White with Life and Living Now and Versatile Fighting Arts. And I sent out a couple of pieces to students and people who kind of follow us on those two platforms about Qigong. And I want to just go ahead and make a video as an accompaniment to the writing that I did. It's pretty much the same thing. Some people enjoy watching the videos more than reading, so I put it out both ways. But what I want to talk about was just a very initial introduction to Qigong. Um, and it's an ancient internal art that I have practiced for a good number of years now. It's a very simple yet powerful practice for becoming more aware of your internal energy and strengthening it, harnessing it, bringing its benefits more fully into your life. And so that's, for me, that has been the benefit of Qigong. And sometimes Qigong is presented as this mystical life force we're doing. And the more that I've gotten into it, um, honestly, if you just look at it, Qi means energy. Gong means hard work, something of value obtained through persistence and hard work. So really, Qigong is just energy work. Um, now, you know, it's it's typically practiced with only the very slightest of muscle effort needed. We typically will use tone rather than tension. And as both body and mind relax and release stress, the practitioner then experiences a deeper calm and inner peace. The Qigong works with the body's energy meridians. In Chinese Qigong theory, the body contains an interconnected pathways that nourish one another and they circulate energy throughout the system. Um, we'll talk more of that in some of the other videos, but practice often focus on specific meridians to strengthen qi in those areas. In Chinese thought, in theory, then there's an energetic body, and you have meridians and vessels and things that contain refined energy, and everything is energy. First thing to remember is everything is energy, and we already know this through physics. And everything vibrates at a different rate of speed, and they connect with each other. We form blood vessels. We've make cabinets in wood and trees and all kinds of things. So in the Chinese theory, there is 12 sets of meridians. You have a whole lot of different vessels, and then you have this network. Think of blood vessels that go out through the body. And in the more Vedic traditions, which came where I started my meditation practice, they have nadis. Similar, although they do not map the same, but different philosophical takes. But they share a basic understanding that the body is energy. And what we want to be able to do, and through Qigong, what we do is become more aware of that energy, of who we are. And that's the part that I love about this. This is about who we are. And all we're doing is we quiet our mind, we focus on the body, and we're doing our Qigong practice, is we are utilizing the very essence of who we are, the very nature of our energetic being. So to me, it's just a very natural way of getting to know who you are and what you are, and then how can you use those parts of you that we have not really been cognizant of. And now we can be, because now we're learning. There's several forms of Qigong, as I may have mentioned. There's medical Qigong, focuses on health, on healing, stress relief. There's martial Qigong that develops power while maintaining um, a calm, relaxed state of mind. There's spiritual Qigong, which is aims to guide the practitioner towards enlightenment. What I teach primarily is medical Qigong, especially out in things like this. I use what's called a five elements, five internal organ Qigong flow. And we add other exercises and flows to that just to kind of work with our awareness and build up the Qi within our bodies. Um, so, in the set, in the five element, then we direct energy to the five internal organs, to the lungs, the kidneys, the liver, the heart, spleen, and stomach. In the Qigong, the best path to health is believed to be preventing disease before it begins. And so with Qigong, we're learning how to relax. We're engaging the parasympathetic nervous system. Um, we're learning how to use that which, like I mentioned, that we are. So, Qigong training has four main approaches to it. There's the body, there's breath, there's sound, and the mind. Now, of these four, the mind is by far the most important. Now, looking at the body focused Qigong may include sitting, standing still, or moving. At times, the limbs are moved, lengthened, and gently stretched. In sitting or stillness practice, then meditation helps focus the mind. It helps to release stress and helps to turn our attention inward towards ourselves. The lotus position, for meditation, it's optional. What matters most is sitting comfortably, preferably with your knees lower than the hips. And this creates a stable posture that easily supports your breathing and energy absorption. Now, often when I sit, I may sit like I have a chair that I sit in. And it's a beautiful chair, but I have a little cushion that I sit in so that I'm sitting, my back and my spine are more erect. My knees are down lower than my hips to allow for my pelvis to be able to be natural and my hips and my shoulders to be properly stacked. This enables me to breathe better and it opens the spine and allows it to be in a natural state. But it's the breathing that I think is by far the most important. Um, so, as the Qigong movements are done really with a growing set of mindfulness. The more that you do this, the more you're able to do this. So it stimulates the body's energy meridians and while teaching us to move with awareness and engagement. So part of the moving when we do Qigong moves is take these little simple moves, stay mindful through all of it. Never break that sense of connection. Learn to build that and then take that sense of connection after your qigong practice into the world and live with that. That's the idea. Okay. Now, in breath, in Qigong, we focus on deep diaphragmatic breathing. That rhythmic breathing offers several benefits, including its effect on the vagus nerve, and in turn, because it affects the vagus nerve, which is one of the longest nerves that it runs from the brain into the gut. It affects the parasympathetic nervous system. So this supports greater calm. The parasympathetic nervous system governs the rest and digestion, and while the sympathetic nervous system kind of activates the fight or flight response. So one you have rest and digest, and the other you have fight or flight. You choose which one that you wish to engage in on a daily basis. The breath also helps focus the mind and reduces the scattered thoughts, that monkey mind that we have when we go to for meditation. And when breath and movement are combined, then they help support each other. Now, sound is another interesting one. And I use this a little bit. I don't use it a whole lot, but with my five energy and also my meditation, there's different sounds that we'll use. Um, some people gravitate more towards those than others, and it's perfectly fine. Um, but it is very effective. Everything in the universe is in constant vibration. And research has explored how sound vibration may influence mental states, including calm as well as agitation. So the sound itself can support relaxation and help focus energy. In the five elements, then each of the organs, each of the elements is assigned a sound in Chinese theory. So we have about six healing sounds. You also have sounds in more of the Vedic disciplines, although they are different and they work more along the lines of the chakras. But look into it, and it may be something that works extremely well for you. Now, the fourth approach is the mind, and the mind is the absolute most important part of Qigong training. It's used to regulate movement, to regulate breath, to regulate sound, and the other elements in the practice. The goal is to regulate these aspects until they become embodied and natural. So the process becomes known as regulating without regulating. In other words, it becomes second nature just to do it. You don't really think about it anymore, you just do it. Um, so as the mind becomes more regulated, then the body, the breath, and sound then are brought into a greater balance. And likewise, because everything affects everything else. That's physics, that's nature, that's the universe. Everything affects everything else. So whatever you do creates ripples for the good or the not so good sometimes. However, you know, as the mind becomes easier to steady, the more these other aspects are becoming regulated. So each supports the others when practiced and with intention. So once regulated, then the mind can begin to sense an imbalance and a dis-ease and work to restore that balance. And I think that's incredibly important that as you become more in tune with your being, then you already naturally begin to sense the imbalances. First, you become aware, and then you feel more when things are imbalanced as you create more energy, more chi, as you balance and harmonize your chi. And then when it begins to get off balance, you sense that. And what's nice is you're automatically led. You are telling yourself what you need to do to seek that balance. Our soul is our best teacher. I believe we are a spirit that has a soul, live in a body. Okay. Um, those are the three treasures. Now, but we'll get back to that. So in Qigong, in traditional Chinese medicine, the body is viewed as a unified system, not separate anatomical parts. So one part is affected, all the other parts are affected as well. Remember, everything affects everything else. This integrated perspective is quite essential to understanding Qigong. The system uses energetic pathways, meridians, as I mentioned earlier, nadis in Vedic traditions, to connect the organs and other parts of the bodies into this unified whole. The chi pathways include 12 channels, 8 extraordinary vessels, and extraordinary does not mean necessarily that they're fantastic. They're just think extraordinary or separate. And there's also many collateral and minor pathways that extend through the body. The two main vessels are the governing channel that runs from the perineum up the back, across the back of the head, comes down by the nose, and most of my mats has it leading to the other side of the upper lip or to the sides of the mouth. And then you have the conception channel that begins perineum and runs up and through the neck and then connects just underneath the lip. And by putting your tongue on the roof of your mouth, you connect that cycle. Um, Much of our practice will focus on those two major vessels or channels because when they're full, then they strongly regulate the other channels that are in the body. So in Qigong practice, we refine and use the innate energy already within the system while also using the breath and our food, but breath to take in more energy. And we also may receive energy from outside the body as you walk through nature, etc. So the purpose is to consciously connect with our energy, become more aware of it, and then learn to harness it. That's the beauty and the power of Qigong. So hopefully this adds a little bit extra to your knowledge or inspires you to practice more. And on Life and Living Now on YouTube, we have videos where from the Qigong sessions where I teach, you are welcome to become part, check those out and just watch them at your leisure. Email me with any questions and we can make videos. We're happy to answer questions as well. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.